Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ. Welcome to the KarKives, the KarQ Archives YouTube channel, my second channel where it's a lot more casual, candid. We're gonna do a tier list live on stream. This is going to be the Overwatch 2 beta patch tier list. I did an Overwatch alpha patch on the patch last month. A lot changed before the version that we're playing on today, so you can go reference that, or I'll put up on the screen right here what my opinion was last month, and I'm going to show you what changed by the end of this. So chat is here. We had 50,000 people live on the stream, which is a crazy live concurrent viewer count. Everybody here is saying what's up. Thank you guys for being here, because my stream today had the Overwatch 2 beta key drops. I appreciate every single one of the people that came out today. But let's give you my thoughts on who I think is S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, or D tier in this tier list. Again, tier lists are always very opinionated. This is going to be based on my experience on quick play, which is all we get to play from yesterday and today. Literally 2 days of playing. It's probably not enough data, but it is what it is. S is like super strong. A is going to be great, good, playable, niche, and like in the right comps and thing. All right, so these are gonna be in alphabetical order, not in the order. I wanted this in the order of Overwatch. Okay, based on my last 2 days of experience from D.Va, honestly, I put her on S tier on the first alpha. Based on my gameplay today, I don't think she's as S tier as I once thought she was. She does do a bit of everything, but a bit of everything doesn't seem to be the play. It feels like each map you really need someone that excels based on what the map offers you. D.Va's still a good pick, where if you don't know what to play, she actually still has her 3-second matrix. In the Overwatch 2 beta patch notes, they didn't mention anything about matrix, but there is a matrix increase on duration. 3-second matrix, if played correctly, I think is still really good. But I'm still gonna keep her on good, because I think she's solid for sure. Doomfist on the alpha, I gave him a B, but I'm gonna bump him up to A in this tier. I've seen a lot of fucking Doomfist the last 2 days, and some of them have been so annoying. The multi-punch is seriously good. It's really annoying to play around. And the only way I've been able to survive is if everybody focuses him down. Like, if your teammates are not coordinated, I don't think you can really, you're gonna lose to Doomfist. So I actually think he's pretty good, all things considered. Yes, when he power blocks, you can still sleep dart him really easily. There's a lot of other CC that can stop him, like Roadhog hook, Sigma rock, Orisa spear. But other than that, his block does get a lot of value. So I've seen him a lot today and yesterday. I'm gonna bump him up to good. Orisa, I still think she's good. She actually has her glaring weaknesses when she's standing still, but she's like pretty annoying to play against on certain maps. If you're on high ground though, yeah, she can't really do anything to you, but I've faced some good Orisas right now. It seems like most of the tanks are good or playable at least, so I'm gonna put that there. On the alpha, I think I put Rein as niche, but I'm actually gonna bump him up to playable, because I think with the new way of canceling charge, you don't have to commit. Like, obviously, if you don't have I put him here because I was like, you need a Lucio to excel with him. But I've seen Reinhardt's do pretty well without Lucio, just because they charge in now, but they cancel it as needed to get into the space they need to. The double fire strike is really good. It used to be 100 damage fire strike for a single. Now you get 2 fire strikes at 90 damage, only 10 damage less, but you get 2. That's pretty good. So I've seen some pretty decent Reins, and Rein so far has been a pretty good counter to Orisa's ultimate. Every time Orisa ults, all you do as a Reinhardt is hold your shield up and you will block it 100%, which is a lot of damage. I think he got a buff. He did not feel this way in the alpha, but anyways, that's good. Hog, I put him on playable in the alpha. I'm actually gonna bump him down to weak. Every single Hog today had to switch off within like 2 minutes. I don't think I saw a single Hog play an entire round. Honestly, yes, if you hit your hooks, you could probably find value. That's if. If you don't hit your hooks, you are so useless. There's so much mobile heroes just running circles on you as Roadhog. If you miss that hook, you're just, I don't know, you're just feeding. You straight up feed. I'm playing a lot of, like Orisa farms so much damage off of you. Orisa's a pretty big counter because, you know, Fortify, you can't get hooked. She can spear you out of the heal, and she's super common. Because Orisa's common, Hog is innately gonna kind of suck. So, I don't know. It just, I underestimated him. I really don't think Hog is that good right now, so far. And the spinning spear blocks hook, yeah. That's right. Okay, Sigma, I think in the alpha patch, I graded him as playable. I actually think he's really good, to be honest with you. I did not know that his rock got buffed in the beta now to do 100 damage instead of 70. If you don't know any of the breakpoints, his what do you call it? His orbs, they do 60 damage each, and you shoot 2 of them. Pew pew. So that does 120. In Overwatch 1, the rock only does 70. So 70 rock into a pew pew only does 190, which means half the roster lives because you can't kill them in the burst. But rock is now buffed from 70 damage to 100 damage. 100 damage rock with the pew pew is 220. You kill half the roster at 200 HP. If you hit the rock, they're dead. His HP went from 400 to 550. That's a lot. And if he sucks a lot, he gets overhealth, and overhealth is naturally better than his previous blue HP, because overhealth in green means enemies don't get any ult charge off of him. So he's actually like, I think he's actually like pretty good. I've seen Sigma do pretty well all day yesterday and today, so just want to leave him up there. Winston, I had him on niche on the alpha. I'm gonna bump him up to playable as well. It seems like Winston, I was like, if Winston doesn't jump in right, he might not be effective, but all the Winstons I've seen actually got a lot of value. And the railgun is kind of annoying, you know, with the 50 damage charge up. So one of the best combos right now, are you a Winston main, chat? Any Winston mains in here? What you want to do is jump up in the air as Winston. Oh, okay, let's ask this. If you're in Overwatch 1, everybody knows the Winston combo where you leap up in the air, and as soon as you land, you press melee at the same time. So you punch land and it does like 80 burst, right? Now, you jump up in the air, you charge your secondary fire for 50 damage, you drop, you shoot them just before you land on the ground, you hit them, zap them for 50, land punch. And now you're doing like fucking, I don't even know, like 130 damage or something like that, right? That is, I've seen some Winstons fucking do a shit ton of damage to people. So that is a huge new combo that I totally underestimated. So that's, I'm gonna put Winston at playable. I wouldn't say he's like as good as these tanks, but he's not as bad as I thought he was. Ball, I think I originally had Ball on A. I can't remember, but or maybe I had him on playable. He's still like playable. He got a nice quality of life change in the center of his adaptive shield, and you can kind of see the indicator. I mean, that doesn't matter too much, but he does have 100 health per nearby target now. I think the cooldown reduced. Like, Ball is still pretty annoying to kill. At least that's what I found. He's got so much HP. I remember fighting like a couple of points and he just lived for so damn long because there's so much HP to burst through. It's like over 1,000 something if he gets a good adaptive shield, and he's just annoying. Like, I don't think he's like particularly good to burst anybody down because of all the healing and stuff. With all the support passes, like if you like roll away for a moment, the support you're focusing gets naturally healed now from the passive, which kind of is an L for Ball focusing supports. But he's still playable. I think he's still okay. Zarya as well. I think I graded her at like S or A early in the alpha, but I think she's bumped down to playable. She's good if you can obviously get the charge, but because there's a 2-second cooldown before you can rebubble the same target, and she's very limited by range, I'm gonna keep her unplayable. Okay, those are my tanks. Everything is playable except Hog. Hog just feels like ass cheeks. Ashe, I'll just keep her at playable. I had a pretty good run with her yesterday when I was playing DPS, but having to recharge, like the reload thing is, I don't know. Actually, that's a pretty bad point. It's mostly the dynamite. That's what I want to say. Because all the flankers and people are moving around and just so, they're not clumped up anymore, which means Ashe takes a lot longer to build dynamite because a lot of her her playstyle was getting big grouped up dynamites to farm like 80% to Bob or something like that, right? So slow Bobs means you really got to rely on your shots. And yeah, like she's okay, like she's playable. Bastion, he's niche now. I think I had him at B in the alpha, but I'm gonna go down. The more I see Bastion, the more I find he's easier to deal with. The only time I've seen Bastion like pop off is when I played against like Jay and Emong and they did the bubble into the Bastion with the nano boost. That means you gotta send 2 heroes to pump their resources into 1 hero. Burn a bubble and burn the nano boost. Like, that's kind of how Bastion plays in Overwatch 1. You're kind of forced to have your team send a lot of resources to you. Maybe Bastion players will evolve a little bit more, but right now, I really feel like he still requires some resources to excel. Maybe there is a playstyle out there that hasn't been discovered yet where he can really go off on his own solo and, you know, not have to rely on anybody. But I will say, he's kind of niche. His hitbox is really big, man. Like, he's so easy to kill if he doesn't have help, and he can't self-heal. And he doesn't have Ironclad passive, so he's a bit squishier. Niche. Cass is still playable. The flashbang, or now we know it's called magnetic grenade. Now we have confirmation that it does 131 damage. 1 damage for the impact, 65 for the explosion, and 65 if you stick the target. 131's a lot. It's pretty chunky. So if you hit 1 body shot, if you stick them and land 1 body shot, you can do like the whole like walk away and like they're just gonna die right behind you, like anime style. Why 131 and not 130? 1 for impact damage because it matters in the context of a sleep dart. So basically, if like your Ana on your team sleeps, I don't know, Sojourn, if you throw the magnetic grenade on the sleeping Sojourn, that 1 damage will wake her up immediately, which is something they wanted to consider. It's actually, it matters more for like Reaper, for example, okay? So let's say Reaper is there and you like throw the magnetic grenade while he's sleeping. He can wake up from the impact and then wraith away and not take any damage. So it's pretty important. They added that as an actual countermeasure. The fact the 1 damage actually makes it worse, if you think about it that way. But in any case, he's still playable because it does do a decent amount of damage. Echo kind of lost a step, I feel. I think I had her on good in the alpha. She's just playable. I didn't realize how bad the nerf was for not being able to clone any of the tanks. Like, you can clone the tanks, but they're capped at 300 HP now. Because all the tanks got huge HP buffs. They didn't want, like, Echo cloning, like, the solo tank every time. Now you have to kind of choose who to clone. And the focusing beam execution damage went down a little bit. So, she's, like, playable. Genji, I actually had him on weak in the alpha, but... it's probably because I didn't see too many good Genjis, so I had a pretty skewed perspective. I've seen some good Genjis today. I think a lot of people are rating him really high. I think he still needs resources to excel, but he's definitely not as bad as I thought he was. He's not even that niche. Like, he's fine as a dive choice now, in my honest opinion. He actually received nothing in the beta patch, but he's playable. He was not as weak as I thought, so I take that back. Hanzo, they nerfed a little bit of the storm arrow damage from 70 to 65. I think I had him unplayable in the alpha, and he's still going to stay playable because as long as you hit your shots, he's still pretty good. Although 65 damage on the storm arrow does affect the breakpoints, which does matter. Like, if there's a tier in between playable and niche, he'd be in between there now because his storm arrow used to do 70. So that means 3 body shots, 70, 70, 70 is 210, which means it kills 200 HP targets. But now that it's 65, a 65, 65, 65 is only 195, which means it doesn't kill 200 HP targets. Or if you get 1 headshot, 1 body shot with the storm, it doesn't kill anymore. That's a pretty big nerf for the breakpoints, so... yeah. Junkrat, I think I had him unplayable. He's niche. I didn't realize how bad they nerfed the steel trap, where they don't stand still anymore. They get stuck. They can break through it now by just walking. And because the maps are really open, especially push maps like Colosseo, Toronto, everything is so spread out and everybody's playing like mobile heroes. There's always a mobile hero on each team. It's hard for him to find as much value. Junkrat was actually really good on 2CP maps. Any Temple of Anubis Junkrat mains, you know what I'm talking about. But because 2CP is gone and the maps are more open, it's a more mobile meta, it feels like Junkrat is just too much open space for him to excel. He's niche, he's still playable in certain phases of maps, like maybe like the inside of Monte Carlo or whatever, right? So I think Junk went down to C. Mei, bro, I know Mei lost her freeze stun, but that DPS is seriously pretty good. I played her a few games, I played her like 10 games now, and I have not really had one bad game. She has options up close with the slow and the huge DPS. The poke is kind of meh with the icicle, but I've been walling nicely. It's actually not bad. They did a pretty good job removing CC and still giving her like value. So her ice is her freeze is, or her primary fire, sorry, It's still a 50% flat slow, and it's multi-freeze. It hits multiple targets, and it does as much damage as like a 40% charge Zarya. It's like 100 DPS. Zarya 75 DPS with laser, not multi-target, 0 energy. With about 35% energy, she does 100 DPS, kind of like that. Mei is pretty good, like pretty decent, pretty playable. All right, Pharah. Pharah is actually playable as well. I've seen some good Pharah Mercies. She didn't receive any changes. Not much else to say. She's all right. Reaper is also playable as well, although he was actually, apparently he was A or S tier in the alpha, but he received 2 major nerfs when the beta came out. If you look at the patch notes, he received 1, his weapon spread increased by 33% from 6 to 8 degrees, and his damage went down 10% from 6 to 5.4 per pellet. Those are pretty big nerfs. So he went from A tier to B tier. He got knocked down quite a bit. Sojourn, I actually originally had her at good, but I'm actually lowering her to B. Some of you guys are going to try Sojourn today and be like, damn, she's OP, but I swear the more you play against her, the less impactful she feels. And that was a mistake. I actually used to have her on S or A tier, but that was just an overreaction, a knee-jerk reaction. The projectile and the shots, like you have to work so hard to build the charge on the projectiles, which are kind of ass. And then when you do hit that one, if you miss that one charge shot, you have to build up again. She kind of reminds me of like Zarya in that sense. She's kind of feast or famine. So I knocked her down to playable. She's okay. You'll see though. This is just my opinion, guys. You guys might have a different opinion. Someone's like, oh, Orisa should be S tier. This is just my opinion. And my opinion is, I mean, I'm a top 500 support player, so maybe I'm a bit biased against certain DPSs, but that's just the way it is. Soldier 76, I'm putting him on S tier. He might be the only S tier here. Soldier can self-heal, he can sprint to move around, and there's less mitigation to stop his shot. You're not even shooting shields as much as you used to in Overwatch 1. As long as you can get on a good angle, sprint to a high ground, you can reposition well, and you've good bursts with Helix, self-sustain. Soldier is just really good. He's really annoying to deal with on the enemy team, and really good, yeah. Sombra, I'll keep her on good. I think some pros are rating her at just playable or low, but I think Sombra's been the longer you play against Sombra, the more you learn how to deal with it, the more you realize that yes, you got hacked, but if you know how to play around that 40% debuff, like you're only silence or interrupt for like 1 second, you learn to move around it, and you know, you can survive. Although her EMP is still like really fucking powerful. 40% damage of their current health is kind of nuts. And apparently with nano boost, it gets changed to 60% of their current health. I didn't know that interaction existed, so there you go. Sombra's really good. I think over time, when people learn how to play around her, she might get bumped down, but she can assassinate a lot of people and be a really big thorn in people's ass. Symmetra. Honestly, I'd say Symmetra's kind of weak, to be honest with you. Symmetra did best in comps that had shields because you charge your primary fire off of shields and you can recharge it. And she's good on defensive setups, but the game is so mobile and fast right now, Symmetra just feels like she's just falling behind. You can try to set up like a turret bomb, but by the time you set up a turret bomb, they're fucking gone. I don't know what to tell you. I think Symmetra received no changes in Overwatch 2. I think she needs some love. Torbjorn, I actually was gonna put him on D, but I think C tier. Like he's niche. He has better role than Symmetra because his turret and stuff can be annoying to deal with as a dive hero, so you can kind of fight him off. Although he did get nerfed a little bit in the sense that his overload, you don't need to make notes on this by the way, his overload gives him green overhealth now instead of armor, which is a nerf. All his other stuff stayed the same, but green overhealth only only prevents enemies from building alt charge when they damage it. He lost the damage mitigation of armor, so he's still kind of niche and he's a little bit weaker. Tracer used to be A tier, but now she's down to B tier because Tracer in the patch notes had her damage nerfed from 6 to 5 per pellet. What's the math on that? Is that 16% damage reduction, which is huge for the one clip potential. That's That's not good. That's hard, man, because Tracer, that's tough. -1 damage per pellet. Per pellet. 16% DPS decrease in her primary fire, so she's down to B. A before, but I've seen less and less Tracers today too. And because supports, if you can't get a good one clip on a support and you have to blink around, they actually just start regenerating after like 2 seconds. So she went from A to B tier. Widowmaker is the last one. She's playable. She's good on some maps. On open maps especially. She got buffed from 175 back to 200 HP. So, I mean, she's okay. If you hit your shots, kind of like Hanzo. These are the, if you hit your shots, they're fine. All right, and those are all my DPSs. Now for supports, I still think Ana is really good as a solo hero. Yes, her sleep dart cooldown went down, but you can solo DPS, pick a good angle, and if you take damage, you never have to nade yourself to heal yourself off because the regen that got kicked in. All the supports got buffed from 10 HP per second to 15 HP per second as their support passive, which is better than the alpha, which is why in the beta, I think she's A tier. I also realized my tier list cut off soldier here ever since I added a few more, so let me do that real quick. Who else happened? What else happened here? Baptiste. I still think he's like playable. I don't think he's as good. He's not terrible. He's still playable. Immortality feels still annoying. Immortality with Orisa on your team, like Bap is good with Orisa and Reinhardt, I felt for sure. I wouldn't say he's as good as he used to be in Overwatch 1 because Overwatch 1 you farm your ultimate so fucking fast, but still pretty good with the stationary tanks. So he's playable. Brig, I think she's playable. Like she's still. When you guys play this game, you play against a good Brig, you'll notice it right away because of the non-stop kicking and healing, packing to pocket someone, non-stop inspire, bash damage. Like you can't underestimate this burst combo. It does a lot. I almost was gonna put her in A, but she's still weak. Her weakness is range, right? If you play range, she'll stay out of it. Like she won't do anything against certain comps. Lucio, I had him on B in the alpha. I'm gonna bump him up to A strictly because of the support role passive again, which was now 15 HP per second after 2 seconds. That means if you're on speed aura, red at Lucioing and trying to escape and rounding corners, you're gonna stay at high speed while the passive heals you up. You don't have to switch to your healing aura as often as you need to. And staying at high speed and being a thorn in people's ass, flying around with the skates, like that's his playstyle that he definitely excels at, and he can assassinate people. He is really good. Mercy, I think I had her on niche in the thing, but I actually think Mercy's not bad. She's playable as well. I've seen like Mercy's pocket, not only the flying heroes, but I've seen the pocket Sojourn. The pocketing Sojourn seems to be a pretty effective playstyle. Pocketing the flying heroes, a good pocket and a reliable heal. Good mobility. Pretty good. Playable. Moira, I'm gonna put her up on S tier, man. I played a decent amount of support. Like I said, I'm a biased support player. Moira is fucking great in Overwatch 2, man. 1v1ing. I don't know if you guys saw my game on Oasis. I literally 1v1. Their Tracer and Genji came from me one at a time. Like they tried to dive me and I killed them both. Survivability is key in Overwatch 2 with all these fast heroes like Doom and D.Va and fucking Genjis and Sojourns and Tracers. I was fighting all of them off, and you can adjust your playstyle to heal your team as needed. DPS with damage orb. Coalescence still good. Moira is fucking great, man. I don't know what to tell you. Moira is kind of nasty with it. And finally, we have Zenyatta. He is a double-edged sword. He's playable in the right comps. But if they have a Sombra, man, I was playing against Fitzy earlier. He just one-clicked me nonstop. If I get hacked, that 40% damage debuff with this tighter spread on the Sombra, like if I receive 0 help, I'm dead. I just don't live. I tried to play around cover, I think, on a push map earlier. I was ringing around the Rosie and I still died. So damn quick. So Zen is B tier. And that is my Overwatch 2 beta opinion tier list, strictly based on quick play only. I haven't scrimmed. I don't play Owl, just quick play. There you have it. If any of your heroes are above S to C tier, you can play them. I would just say Hog and Symmetra are meh. These three played with only the right comps or right things. Everything else here is playable. They're totally fine. That's all. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and ciao.